Now that we know the words in the detail that we do, everyone, I think most people, of our vintage, I'll say that for us at least, you kind of know the play and you've seen the show and you've seen the movie. But one thing that's lovely to discover in the minutiae of the words is actually how much they do love each other. Is that as much as this play, there's a lot of arguing and bickering because you never know someone until you, we've always said holiday with them or live with them for an extended period of time. Then even great mates, you go, oh, okay, it's the little things that get at you. But then what's beautiful about it is you read in between the lines and the lines themselves, and they do genuinely love each other. There's so many things that they do and say that prove that they are a great couple. They're an odd couple, but they are a couple. So that's what I've learned.
And I've learnt that I'm a method actor because I actually went home and cooked the meal that Felix cooked in the play. I'm such a nerd. But that's more about learning about myself. No, I just think, for me personally, that just as an experience, to do something which 100% hangs on the text rather than having to lead to a song and dance routine is for me new, fresh and invigorating, and I'm really enjoying that and the depth we've got into with the text, which is such beautiful language to say. And so I'm really enjoying that side of it. My jazz hands are down. Well, I think one of the things that's really surprised me is that when in a musical theatre show, you have obvious peaks and you get to the end of a number and the audience applauds. What surprised me is that you can have the same feeling when you hit a dramatic scene in the sweet spot and you can feel it land properly. It's just as rewarding, which is a surprise to me, as rewarding as doing da-da-da-ba-da-da applause. You get the same vibe, so that's been a real eye-opener for me.
And as you all know, that in music theatre, when words are not enough, one simply must sing, is the old adage of musical theatre. But when you do drama, words have to be enough, and they are. So it does sing in its own way, and there's a rhythm, which Mark directs incredibly well with us, which is to make sure that there is a rhythm in the words. Well, the way that Neil, not in all words, but the way Neil Simon writes, there is a musicality, there is a rhythm, and if you know where it is and you follow that, dare I say it, it sounds a bit corny, but the script does sing, so you don't need the music. And it's nice not to have to dance. For me, there's a little difference between myself.
Well, we haven't quite put the ending on the show yet. There might be a big surprise.
Oh,
a mega mix. An odd couple mega mix. Well, the writing for a start is it's so delicious, and it's like a ping pong match. It's very relatable, conversational, but the story is just universal. Two friends getting thrust together, not really knowing each other in the situations that they're in, like living together. And two polar opposites in many ways. So that's a universal story, but for me it's the writing, it's the comedy, it's a very, very funny play. We don't necessarily stop to do a gag. The gags are written and built into it, and I think I get the feeling from when Neil Simon first wrote the play, from then until now, it keeps getting finessed and fine-tuned and wrung out for all of the juice. So there's no wasted words in there. The words are all there, specifically designed to hit certain marks, so whether it's emotional or comedic, and we're just getting to deliver that sort of talented writing is incredible.
And if I set the challenge to go and read the script, all 94 pages from front to back, I promise you that you would miss more than half, because it took me 4 or 5 reads until you go, oh my God, that's a callback from there. Oh, that's a reference to that. Oh, that picks up on that point. And honestly, if the audience listened to every word from the start, the benefits are enormous as an audience member. So it is, I reckon it took me every now and then, even yesterday there was just a word and I went, oh my God, that's a callback to there. So you can't expect an audience to pick up all of that in their first time in the theatre. So what am I saying? You'll need to see it at least 5 times. Yeah.
Ka-ching!
Is that right, Bern?
Is that right, Bern?
Yeah. Oh, 6 times.
Well, it was kind of our idea, sort of, in a way. It was us and John Frost who all sort of came together. Shane and I had an incredible working experience together on Hairspray, the musical. Shane played Edward.
On everything.
I played his wife, her husband.
It's hard, isn't it?
And Shane talked me into doing that, but we've done so much stuff together on TV as well, but we just loved it so much, and at the end it was John Frost and Shane and myself sat down and said, we want to work together again, so what do we do? And all of us kind of at the same time went,
The Odd Couple.
And it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, audience become one thing instantly. Within 2 or 3 minutes, anyone that works on stage can tell you, after about 3 minutes, you know the audience you've got for the rest of the show. Always, they become, if there's 3 or 4 loud laughers in there, they affect the whole audience in a positive way. But if people come in and they're sitting on their hands because everyone seems a bit timid or quiet, that'll stay for most of it. So the audience becomes one. It's amazing because we do the same show every night, almost to the second. The lighting cue's the same, the wardrobe, everything is the same. It's the same theatre, the same temperature. It doesn't matter what's happening outside, the theatre's the same temperature. So everything's identical. The only thing that changes is the audience. Theatre is where you get to sit in. All the things we've said about the audience becomes one. The great news about that is you're part of something. So when you sit in an audience, if we make a mistake, you're there for it. And I think the thing you would have loved about us and everyone else on stage in Hairspray is it all happens right there in front of you. So as soon as the lights go down, I can't guarantee it feels the same for every audience member, but it can't be far from it. I think it's magic. We know how to do it. We know the magic tricks. It's a lot of rehearsals and lights and everything else. But there's something I think that is truly magical in the theatre. Well, that's how I felt when I went in, and still to this day when I take my wife and my kids, or we go and see a show and you sit in the audience, as soon as the orchestra strikes up or the lights dim, I feel fantastic already, and I haven't even seen the show. So it is like sitting in front of one of Todd's amazing meals that have come out of his air fryer. You just go, oh, here we go.
My $67 air fryer.
67, I'm either. So that's... And so
it's also fast. It's fast, it's funny, and I think it's a great way to introduce people who don't go to straight plays, maybe some of the musical theatre audiences, because commercial straight plays were kind of a thing of the past, but they seem to have a resurgence at the moment. This is a classic one to dip your toe into that water, because it's fast, it's funny, it's short, it's a universal story, and it's got Kenny in it. The toilet guy's in it, man.
Yeah, the fat guy from the shit flick's in it.
Just playing the truth of it for each of us will be unique. We haven't gone and watched the movie and trying to replicate somebody else's performance. The words are still the same, the story's the same, but the direction's different, and we as people are different. So I think we'll be fresh.
And a touch of you ends up in some bits. Your body movement, there's bits in there. The way you react with, little bits, like there's some things that come out of me and I go, well, there's a bit of me there. And sometimes I've seen, don't get me wrong, I've seen other people's versions, and I see things where you go, right, well, that's similar to what I'm doing, but it's only because maybe that's the right choice or it's an obvious thing to do. But when you turn up, the truth is, there's no way you can memorise someone else's entire performance. So when you turn up at rehearsal, you kind of have to learn the words and do it yourself anyway. So it becomes original in its own way because of that, I think. Yeah. But having said that, I imagine most of the people in the audience won't have seen a live version of this, and if they have, it's been a very, very, very long while. So even if we have ripped them off, they'll never know.